Every night, as the house fell silent and the stars blinked above, the Miller family's golden retriever, Max, would plant himself outside their 5-year-old daughter Lily's bedroom door. At exactly midnight, without fail, he would begin to growl, low, threatening, and relentless. It wasn't playful barking or a warning to some passing animal. It was a deep, menacing growl that sent chills down the parents' spines. Max had never shown aggression before. He was the gentlest companion, loved by everyone. So why was he suddenly acting like a guard dog in front of Lily's room? First they scolded him. Then they locked him away at night. But Max would whimper, bark, and scratch at the door until he broke free, and always returned to Lily's room, growling like something or someone was there. The Millers decided to install a camera outside her room to solve the mystery. What they saw changed everything. Max had been part of the Miller family since Lily was born. A golden retriever with warm brown eyes and a wagging tail that never stopped. He had been Lily's first friend. He'd curl beside her crib as a puppy, lie under her high chair waiting for crumbs, and sit patiently as she dressed him in doll clothes. He was gentle, patient, and fiercely protective. So, when Max began growling outside Lily's door each night, it shook the family to their core. First it seemed like a fluke. One night of growling could be written off. Perhaps he heard something outside. But it happened again and again, always at midnight, always at her door. The first time Anna, Lily's mother, got out of bed to scold Max. He flinched but didn't back down. He stayed planted, growling, tail stiff. His eyes were locked on the door like there was something dangerous behind it. Anna opened the door to check. Lily was sound asleep. It wasn't just growling. Max's entire body would tense. His ears would perk. He was on high alert. When Anna picked him up and moved him to the living room, he ran right back. The Millers began to worry. Was Max sick? Losing his mind? Could he be sensing a health issue in Lily? They took him to the vet. Tests came back normal. Perfectly healthy. It's probably behavioral, the vet said. Dogs sometimes pick up strange habits. Maybe he's just being protective. But the Millers knew Max. This wasn't normal. He wasn't just acting strange, he was terrified. They tried keeping him downstairs at night, but Max howled, barked, and chewed at the door to escape. Eventually he succeeded. The next night he was back at Lily's room, growling again at midnight. Concern turned into fear. Anna and her husband, Rob, started sleeping with the baby monitor volume high. Every little sound from Lily's room now startled them. One night, Max's growling turned into barking. Loud, aggressive, as though something or someone was inside. Rob rushed in with a flashlight and found Max snarling at the corner of Lily's room. Lily stirred but didn't wake. There was nothing there. They checked the closet. Nothing. Windows locked. Room cold but quiet. Max's behavior escalated. Now, even during the day, he wouldn't leave Lily alone. He followed her around, alert, growling softly whenever she played alone. It was no longer possible to brush it off as odd behavior. The Millers were torn. Was Max becoming dangerous, or was he warning them of something they couldn't see? That's when Rob decided to install a camera in the hallway, aimed directly at Lily's door. They needed answers. The night the camera was installed, the entire family went to bed with a strange mix of fear and anticipation. They hoped the footage would show something logical, perhaps a mouse in the walls or a drafty vent, or some flickering light from outside. Anything that could justify Max's behavior. At 11:59 p.m., Max took his place outside Lily's door, just as he had every night before. His body stiffened, nose twitching. A low growl escaped his throat. He didn't bark. He just stared at the door, as if he was seeing something invisible. Then, just as the clock struck midnight, Max stood up abruptly. His hackles rose. His tail stiffened. His growl deepened into a snarl. Rob, watching the live feed from his phone, sat up in bed. "What is it?" Anna whispered. "Something's wrong," Rob replied, eyes glued to the screen. In the footage, Max lunged at the door. Not scratching it, but charging into it like he wanted to break in. Then he paused, tail between his legs, backing up slowly. His gaze fixed on the hallway corner just out of the camera's view. Max was acting like someone had entered the space. But no door opened. No sound was heard. Suddenly the camera glitched, just for a split second. When the feed returned, Max was barking wildly, spinning in place, looking panicked. He kept glancing back toward the hallway, growling, then returning to Lily's door to bark frantically. Rob got out of bed and raced to the hallway. When he turned the corner, Max was still barking, fur bristled, eyes wide. But as soon as Rob stepped closer, Max ran to him, whimpered, and then sat directly in front of Lily's door, guarding it. Rob opened Lily's door slowly. She was awake, sitting upright in bed. Her face was pale, and her little body was trembling. "Daddy, the shadow man was here again." Rob's blood ran cold. "What shadow man?" She pointed to the corner of her room, the same spot Max had barked at days earlier. "He stands there and watches me. He whispers things. But Max makes him go away." Rob picked Lily up and held her tight, eyes scanning the room. There was nothing visible, but the air felt wrong. Heavy. He brought Lily into their room for the night and promised to find out what was going on. The next morning, he reviewed the footage in slow motion. That's when he saw it. Just as the clock hit midnight and the camera glitched, a faint, distorted blur crossed the screen. It wasn't a reflection. It wasn't a shadow. It was like a faint silhouette, tall, almost human, moving past the hallway. Max wasn't going mad. He was protecting Lily from something real. Shaken, Rob began researching the house. It was a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of place you'd never expect something sinister. But what he found made his stomach turn. 10 years earlier, a man had lived in their home, alone, reclusive, and deeply disturbed. He had been reported multiple times for erratic behavior. Neighbors claimed he was obsessed with protecting children from evil spirits, though no one had seen him with a child. Eventually he disappeared. Authorities found strange symbols etched into the basement walls and journals filled with incoherent ramblings about dark forces, and a child marked by shadow. No crime had been committed, and the house was sold a few years later, cleaned, painted, and listed as a fixer-upper. The Millers had never been told about this. Rob shared everything with Anna. Together, they explored the house top to bottom, eventually reaching the basement. Behind one of the wooden panels, they found it. A hidden alcove covered in old carvings, the walls still stained with faded ink and markings. Among the writings was a disturbing message. "The child must not be taken. The dog will guard the gate." Anna gasped. It didn't make sense, until they remembered Max. Was Max part of something bigger? Was he their accidental guardian? The more they dug, the more eerie the clues became. They found an old trapdoor under the carpet that led to a crawlspace directly below Lily's room. In it, dust-covered relics of some kind of ritual. Broken candles, faded drawings, and a small box filled with bones. Animal bones, they hoped. They called in a local historian who specialized in folklore. After reviewing the photos and writings, she explained. Whoever lived here believed the child born under this roof would attract something dark, something that fed on fear. The dog was his way of keeping the spirit at bay. He believed animals, especially dogs, could see what humans couldn't. She paused and added, "Your dog isn't attacking Lily. He's fighting for her." The realization hit them like a storm. Max wasn't a problem. He was a protector, perhaps the only thing standing between Lily and whatever haunted the house. But if the presence was getting stronger, would Max be able to stop it forever? After the historian's visit, fear became a constant companion in the Miller household. They no longer doubted Max. Every growl, every bark, every moment he stood guard outside Lily's door, they saw it now for what it was, a desperate fight against something they couldn't see. Rob reinforced every window and door. Anna kept Lily close at all times. But nothing stopped what came next. That night, The air inside the house felt heavy, almost electric. A thunderstorm rolled through the neighborhood, lightning flashing across the sky. Max was restless. He paced between the living room and Lily's bedroom, ears twitching, growling under his breath. At 11:30 p.m., the lights flickered. At 11:45, the baby monitor in Lily's room crackled with static. And at exactly midnight, Max let out a growl louder than ever before and lunged at the door, scratching, barking, and snarling like something had crossed a line. Rob ran into the hallway, flashlight in hand, heart pounding. Max barked ferociously, his body angled toward the ceiling corner above Lily's room door. Rob opened the door. Lily was not in her bed. The sheets were crumpled. The window was wide open, the curtains flapping wildly. Rain poured in, soaking the carpet. "Lily!" Rob screamed. He searched every inch of the room, every closet, under the bed, nothing. Anna ran upstairs, panicked. Max darted to the staircase, barking at the attic door. Rob flung it open and climbed into the dusty darkness, flashlight cutting through the cobwebs. And there, curled in the corner, shivering, eyes wide with terror, was Lily. "She said she wanted to show me something in the stars," Lily whispered. "Who?" Rob asked, his voice trembling. "The shadow lady. She told me to climb out the window." Rob held her tight, heart racing. Anna sobbed in relief. But Max wasn't calm. He stood at the attic door, growling, barking wildly into the darkness. Then he lunged forward, snapping at thin air. The attic grew cold. The flashlight flickered. Then a loud thump, followed by silence. Max collapsed. Rob rushed over. Max whimpered once, then went still. His breathing slowed. His eyes locked on Lily one last time before closing. He had saved her, but something had taken its final toll on him. Anna knelt beside him, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Max, stay." But it was too late. That night, the storm passed. The air grew warm again. The house fell silent. And the growling stopped for good. The next morning, the Miller family buried Max beneath the big oak tree in their backyard, his favorite spot in the sun. Lily placed her favorite stuffed animal beside him. "So he won't be lonely," she said quietly. The house was different after that night. No more growls. No more strange occurrences. The camera never glitched again. The whispers stopped. Whatever had haunted them was gone. Days passed. Then weeks. Lily returned to sleeping peacefully in her room. The baby monitor remained quiet. But every now and then she'd smile at the door and say, "Max is still here. He just doesn't bark anymore." Anna and Rob never dismissed her words. If Max had taught them anything, it was to believe the unbelievable. 3 months later, they received a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a journal, leather-bound, worn, and filled with the same strange writings they had seen in the basement. But this journal was different. It wasn't filled with warnings. It was filled with stories. Stories of other families, other children, and a line that stood out on the very last page. "When man fails to see, the dog will see. When man fails to act, the dog will protect. And when danger comes in the night, the loyal heart will fight." The journal had belonged to the previous homeowner, a man not mad but perhaps misunderstood. Someone who had spent his life researching and documenting a presence that preyed on children in specific places. And dogs, especially loyal ones, seemed to be the only effective barrier. The Millers couldn't explain how or why it happened. But they knew this. Max had been more than a pet. He had been chosen. Whether by fate, instinct, or something far greater, he had stood between their daughter and something evil, and he gave everything to protect her. In the months that followed, Anna and Rob worked to create awareness. They shared their story anonymously online. Other families began to come forward with similar tales. Dogs acting strange, children seeing figures, homes with pasts that whispered through the walls. Max's story spread. And in every version, one truth remained. The growl of a dog is sometimes the only warning we get. Lily still talks about him. Sometimes she laughs at night, as if someone just told her a joke. When asked, she says, "Max says I'm safe now. He says the shadows can't reach me anymore." They don't doubt her. And every year on the day Max passed, they light a candle by the oak tree and tell his story. Not just as a tribute but as a reminder. Because sometimes, the hero doesn't wear a cape or carry a sword. Sometimes he just growls in the night.